Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Minute Channel. Today we're going to be talking about PlayStation because the end of the generation is here, and I figured it will be a good time for me to talk about my pick of the top PlayStation 4 games. So this is it. Let's go ahead and check this out. Very exciting. I don't have a PlayStation 5 yet, obviously, but as for now, I have pretty much started doing games on PlayStation 5, so I figure, this will be the last few games that we have only on the PlayStation 4 and so on. So let's go ahead and check out all this list of awesome games. Obviously, I didn't play all of the games, like everybody out there. I have limited time. I only pick a limited amount of games and everything, but these are definitely games that I enjoyed. These are definitely games that I will recommend everybody to play. So let's go ahead and start with the list. We'll have at number 10, we have Days Gone. So Days Gone is a game that at first glance, I didn't really think that I was going to enjoy much. It's an open world game. I don't really like open world games much, even though a lot of these games are open world in the list and everything. This is not my favorite genre. I don't really enjoy open world games a lot, and this is about zombies, and there's like a million zombie games. So this had heavy competition when it came to the genre that I was going to and all the stuff. However, the story really sold me. The story goes about this main character and his quest to try to find his wife as they were separated during the zombie apocalypse, and it's just him just trying to do that. However, between all of these roller coaster of emotions that you're going through, there's this interesting gameplay where you have your motorcycle, you're going around killing zombies and building a rep with all these different factions and everything. You can choose to do different stuff with different factions, meeting all the different people and everything. This game really puts an emphasis on traveling with your motorcycle. Your motorcycle is like your second home, really, and the majority of the time you're going to be spending that. And I really enjoyed the experience of just going with a motorcycle around, riding it, having fun and everything like that. It was definitely a game that I didn't expect to enjoy as much as I did, and it was definitely paid off at the end of the game. I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed the experience. This is definitely gonna probably have a second game because of the ending, so I'm very excited to see how that's gonna turn out in the next game. They definitely did some pretty interesting stuff in this game. Okay, moving up on number 9, we have Infamous Second Son. So this is actually one of the first PlayStation 4 games that came out, period, when the game came out, when the PlayStation 4 came out and everything. And I was already a fan of the series. And if Infamous series is a long time series, it's been out since the PlayStation 3 and everything like that. So I was definitely interested to see how this game was gonna come out. And that game definitely did some pretty interesting stuff. It definitely pushed the power of the PS4 at the time. It really, it was showing you the power on all the gimmicks and everything like that. And it had some pretty interesting stuff going for it. The story is definitely a more home story. It takes more about family and about what's important and everything. And it's really interesting. This game definitely did some really different stuff from the original Infamous games, so I definitely enjoy those games a lot. But this one definitely has some different stuff that I really liked. Stuff like the gameplay was a little bit different. There was a lot of different dynamic with the different powers that he will get and everything, and I really like all the stuff. And the story again was really, I think this game really set the expectation for future games, because this game really had an emphasis on storytelling and character development and everything. A lot of the future PlayStation 4 games really took note of and kind of build up from there. So I really love this game quite a bit. And moving up at number 8. Now this game, when it first announced and when it first came out, it got bad because of it releasing at the same time of another game. So Horizon Zero Dawn is my number 8, and it came out almost at the same time as Legend of Zelda. I think they came out like a few days different, and it was one of those cases where people had to choose between these two incredible games. Can you play Horizon Zero Dawn and Zelda at the same time? Definitely not. You have to pick and choose what game you want to do. I tried to do both, but ultimately I ended up picking Legend of Zelda. Then I had to go back and play Horizon Zero Dawn, and it was kind of, I was like, why didn't I play this sooner? I really enjoyed the aspect of this game, because this is a game that again, it's a checklist of games. This game has everything open world. You're traveling around the world. You're doing these different factions. Similar things from other open world games. But what this game does right is the storytelling. This game focuses on Aloy, a girl that is just trying to figure out what's going on with the world. She has a mission, and she's gonna go and accomplish that mission. The world and setting is really interesting too. Fighting these massive dinosaur mechs traveling around the world, destroying everything and everything. It's a really interesting post-apocalyptic idea that I never really imagine they will do, and it really works for the setting and everything. The setting is definitely what sold me in this game. It's just really interesting. The character dynamic with the different characters that you meet along the way is pretty interesting, and of course Aloy is a really interesting character. There's a lot of stuff that they plot twist and things that they show over the game and everything. I really love this game. In fact, this game will be higher on the list, but there's a lot of really good games out there too. But this is definitely one of those games that I really cannot wait for the second game. The first game really did a lot of good stuff, and the PlayStation 5 seems to is gonna have a second game, and I'm really excited to see what they're gonna do next for this series, because it definitely deserves more game and more. I'm definitely gonna play it day one next game. Okay, so number 7 is Uncharted 4. Now, Uncharted is supposed to be the male version of the Lara Croft games, and it does things differently. Overall, I've never been a really huge fan of the games. I played them all, but I've never really been like a huge fan of them. However, when the fourth game came out, I was really excited for it because one, it looked good, and two, it seemed to be really wrapping up the story of Drake. So I was really excited to see how that's gonna culminate. And the game really does a lot of things where it kind of brings you back to the good old days of Uncharted. At the same time, really pulling the strings and telling you, yeah, this is the end of this story, this is the end of it, and really bringing all these characters together, kind of giving you a final note and everything. And they really did a lot of good stuff with this game. I didn't know what to expect when they first announced the game. I didn't know what to expect when I played the game, but at the end of the day, when I was finishing the game and everything, I was like, yeah, this was a good game. I really enjoyed the experience. I really enjoyed the ending. It really got me back to, like, yeah, it was a good series overall. So I figured I would put this in honor of the entire series. I wanted to put just the Uncharted game overall because, again, they're good games. They're not my favorite games. There's a lot of stuff that I don't like about them, but I feel like this game really kind of ended the series, and it ended in a good note and everything. If they do more games, this is really gonna affect the way I feel about this game, because, again, it does feel like it was a nice wrap up. It was a nice end of the story and everything like that. So I really enjoyed that a lot. Well, moving up next, at number 6, we have Marvel's Spider-Man. Now, this game affected me in so many different ways because, one, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I mentioned this in many other videos, and I really enjoy the series overall, whether it comes in comics or the TV show or movies or anything. So I've always been a fan of Spider-Man overall. So when they announced this game, I was immediately on board with the idea of a Spider-Man game. However, I've always been a little skeptical when it comes to that stuff because not all Spider-Man games are good. A lot of people can say that, and I can agree to that. There's a lot of stuff wrong with these games, but this particular game did so many good stuff when it comes to the web swinging, the storytelling, the character of Peter Parker, just kind of having an older Peter Parker that has been Spider-Man for like 10 years already. So looking at that experience and just kind of seeing him like a grown man that has like experienced all these battles and everything, it just really brings you back at home with Spider-Man. If you're a fan of the series, you're definitely going to enjoy this game. This game definitely does everything that a Spider-Man fan would like to do, and even more. I mean, the fighting itself is really interesting. The web swinging is fantastic. It does make you feel like Spider-Man. I know a lot of people say that, even as a joke nowadays and everything. And now that I got to play Miles Morales Spider-Man, I went back and played this game, and I say, yeah, this game holds up. It's really good. I really love the idea of the Marvel Spider-Man. Easily one of the best Spider-Man storylines ever too. They just did a lot of good stuff. I really love this game quite a bit. Moving up next, at number 5, we have The Last of Us Remastered. Now, this is a little bit of a cheat because this is a remastered game from the previous generation, but I think still really holds up. We played the entirety of the game about a few months ago, and I was still looking at the game saying, wow, this game still looks beautiful. This is a PlayStation 3 game, and it looks beautiful. It plays amazing. The storyline is fantastic. In fact, I think it's one of my favorite storylines of all time. It just does a lot of good stuff right when it comes to what you're expecting and everything like that. This is definitely marked the era, at the end of the era, and starting a new era and everything. Unfortunately for me, The Last of Us Part 2 didn't really continue the strength, momentum that the first game had, and I don't think any game will ever kind of amount to stuff. Sequels usually don't do as well as the original game, and this one does no exception as well. But the first game really did a lot of good stuff. I love the characters, Ellie, and she, like, her journey and everything. The character, the dynamic between her and Joel is really interesting, and overall it just does a lot of good stuff. I can't imagine not playing this game. Moving up next at number 4, we have Bloodborne. So Bloodborne is always been a fan of the Souls games. Although I've never been good at them, they say get good and you play this game over and over again. It's still hard. They are still really hard games, but the experience of these games are really interesting, and the dynamic of something different from the Dark Souls games really caught my attention. I was really excited and interested to see what they will make from the series, especially coming as a PlayStation exclusive. So Bloodborne just takes the Souls formula but adds its own spin to it. Being a hunter, being a different kind of person in a different kind of world really works for this game particularly. It just does many different things different from the original Souls games, but at the same time remains and combat feels slightly similar. There's definitely a lot of different good stuff in here. It's easily one of the best RPGs of this generation, I can say for sure. Although I don't know if Souls games are even considered RPGs anymore. I still consider them RPGs, but I know some people, this is a discussion for a different day, but easily one of my favorite games. The combat is really engaging and really fun, all the different bosses that you can fight. The dynamic between that and the storytelling in this game is pretty interesting. I really love these games. I wish that they will do a second Bloodborne game. Please, Sony, please do another one of these. Definitely need one of them. Moving up to number 3, we have Persona 5 Royal. What can I say about Persona 5 Royal? My channel is about Persona, so I'm not gonna delay this here. Persona 5 Royal, if you don't know, is a remaster of the original Persona 5, which actually should be here on the list, but I don't want to put two of the same game together here. Persona 5 Royal definitely improved a lot of the game storytelling in other different departments. It definitely improved a lot in the gameplay as well, so I figured that this one will be a more good version of the game to put in the list and everything. Overall, Persona 5 is the story about this guy that has been moved into Tokyo, and he somehow in some mysterious ways gets tangled in these dungeons that he has to go and save people and everything. So it's a really interesting game overall. It's definitely one of the best RPGs of the generation as well. I may do a generation video just about RPGs because this generation had a lot of really good stuff when it comes to RPGs, and a lot of people consider RPGs to be kind of like the more not notorious games. There's so many games that are like shooters and everything, but RPGs have remained to be so truthful, and Persona really stuck in that end where it has to a more turn-based RPG, very traditional type, and still make it slick looking, the music fantastic, everything just works so well for that game, and it's just a really good game. Moving up on my number 2 is Ghost of Tsushima. Now, I'm really surprised that this game is actually as high as it is, thinking of all the other games that I played this year and the previous years and everything, but I really, really love this game. Ghost of Tsushima is my samurai fantasy in the living. I really enjoyed every part of the game. The gameplay is really engaging. Again, if you love things like the Souls games and the combat type, this game really does that, and it does that really good. There's different stuff that you can do as a samurai or as a ninja, because you can be a ghost and all this different stuff. But overall, this game really did what every Assassin's Creed guy ever wanted as a fan, or even again as a Souls kind of game. This really did that kind of stuff. I really did well. I really love this game. I enjoyed the experience of it. I think that this game overall was a game that I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did. I was very skeptical of this game. Out of all the games, maybe this one, Days Gone, those are the two games that I was really skeptical on, but this game really nailed it. And when it comes to that, not to mention how good the story is, all the different characters that you meet, the character development in this game is fantastic. How heartfelt and how even sad at times it can be, because it's a war and all things happen and everything. This game really pulled my strings on stuff. At the end of the game, I was crying my eyes out. I was really having a good time. This game really did a lot of good stuff. I really love it. And my number 1 is God of War. A lot of people love this game. A lot of people don't like this game. This is my favorite game on the PlayStation 4. I love the God of War series. I always have. But this game really changed something when it comes to the way that they did the storytelling. Again, stories is a big thing for me, and obviously throughout this game I talked about this quite a bit, but this game really changed from the original God of War, we focus more on the fighting and everything, to this more coming of age story, you know, father and son getting this thing together and everything, and how the relationship and the dynamic changed over time. It's a really good game, and I can't really wait for the next game to show up. It's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited for that, and PlayStation really did a really good job as kind of building this game together. I think that a lot of people were skeptical for this game because of the original God of War series, but once you play this game, you realize, yeah, this is definitely one of the best PlayStation games ever made. It definitely has a lot of good stuff. Not to mention how satisfying and how good throwing that axe is, how good the fights are. There's just so many good stuff in this game that I say, yeah, I really love this game. And I really love all of these games in this list here. I'm gonna give a couple different notices here, a lot of different games that I played on the PS4 that aren't necessarily just didn't make it on the list of, or just there are on other consoles as well. But I'm gonna mention a couple here. So Neo and Neo 2, both of those games are really good. They also come out on PC, so I didn't add them to the PlayStation 4 exclusives or anything like that, but they're also really good games. Really love those games overall. Fantastic games. Also want to mention 13 Sentinels. It didn't get to the list, but it was like my number 11. Like, I really love 13 Sentinels. Definitely a really good game. I really love the game overall. So I wanted to put it somewhere. I just didn't have it, and like I wait to put the game in somewhere because I really love that so much. But again, it's not in like my top 10 games, but it's definitely a good game. Anyway, that is from my mentions there. I really have a lot of things to talk about, but I want to go ahead and wrap this game up. Let me know in the comments below, what are your favorite PlayStation 4 games? You don't have to be exclusive, it can be any game. And that's it for today, guys. If you're new, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.